Well, we'll let that get to 30, and then we'll go. My mouth is far too dry for this.
Do you want some wine?
I need some lip balm. I got some wine. Yeah, I got sherry.
Sherry?
Yeah. Only real men drink sherry.
I nearly finished.
You missed your cue.
Welcome to A Certain Style of Podcast, episode 31. The podcast where you get to hear what me, Tim, and Andy think about things, which is probably the only place in the world where you can get this. That's our unique selling point. It's
Indeed.
us three.
Indeed.
Us three. Unless you guys are doing podcasts on the side that I don't know about, then yeah, it's an entirely unique thing we have.
Yes.
Congratulations, us.
Well done.
All right, so a small amount of housekeeping if I can get this right. Please check us out on acertainstyle.com. It's where you can find the podcast every 2 weeks when we do our jobs. And you can also go to Facebook, which is acertainstyle.com, all one word. And YouTube, just put in A Certain Style and you'll probably get there. All right, good.
Yeah,
I am
good.
joined by Tim and Andy once again.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, world. And we have a lot of alcohol on the table today. Did you mind telling us why that is? Because I don't know.
Well,
Just saw you coming up the stairs and you had 2 glasses.
it's a
You
kind
had
of
a bottle of wine.
combination of reasons. I gave up alcohol just for a month, just because I tried to do that once a year, because it's good for you and it's good for the soul and
Good for the soul.
stuff, and good for mental kind of tuning. Keep
Mhm.
you know, bit of
It's working.
Yeah.
It totally worked. How many
But-
days you been back on it?
just this weekend.
Okay.
So like Friday was the first beers I had.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, last few podcasts I had water, so I had beer, but then I also had I fancied a beer because it's been very warm today, and I also had a bottle of wine left from the weekend, which needs drinking, so I brought that as well, and so I've just got them lined up.
It's good planning ahead because we don't stop
Yeah.
during this.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
There was
If
no way
you-
to go get a drink.
You
during,
guys
so,
start
yeah.
going off. I just got the wine.
Yeah, perhaps
Great.
perhaps our listeners should take that cue as well.
Mm.
Get some booze
Get-
lined up.
Get a drink, sit down. By the end of this, possibly an hour, you'll think we're great. Cool. All right. Well, some stuff has been going on. Tim, you've been on holiday.
Yes, few days. Went
Again?
to Netherlands. Oh, come on. Andy's the one that's always on holiday.
Yeah, I know, but he hasn't been on holiday this time.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So Netherlands, which is awesome. Thoroughly recommend it.
What did
Everyone speaks better English than we do here. It's weird.
What did you do? What did you do in the Netherlands?
Like, there wasn't a single second of that holiday where I wasn't full, like really full. Yeah.
What's the national dish?
Well, one of them I had, which is like herring, so just raw fish.
Oh, there's that really stinky one.
This was not that stinky. Not if it's
Oh.
fresh. Yeah.
Ah.
You just like open up your gullet.
It's not the
Cool.
one
Like
that's
an
like.
oyster.
A bit,
Yeah. You're not really.
but it's like a fish about.
So you got to be good at.
Well, you can bite it. You don't need to like. I'm not going to say it.
Deep
So,
throat.
oh, Andy. Yeah. So, because I love.
I'm here for the video viewers, Andy's here for the audio viewers.
What are you saying about Andy's face? Yeah. So that was really good. Had a lot of fun.
Good. Fun.
Cool.
Also, it's the Olympics. How was that out there? Did it feel like the Olympics were on? Because
I was on holiday. I wasn't watching TV.
You weren't watching
I had no
TV.
idea.
we're doing pretty well.
Apparently so.
It's good. Do you guys watch it?
I didn't start much, but I've been watching it more now, and I've been watching the cycling. The cycling's kind of exciting, confusing. Some of them.
I
I've
find a
been
lot of it confusing.
learning.
Cycling's like a lesson in how to make games out of one thing.
Yeah, it is. It's like someone's kind of right. Okay, they just go round and round in a circle. How are we going to make this more exciting? And then they've
they have
gone
a team-
completely
they're quite good.
nuts.
Yeah, it's exciting. I like the one where it's just the guy and he's waiting. The guy's behind.
Oh yeah,
His
it's
friend,
like
he's just looking behind, and he's just like literally cycling, not looking forward.
it looks like
Waiting for him to break, and then he just goes. And every time I've watched it, the guy who's in front pretty much wins every time.
yeah.
And it's like, well, great.
It kind of looks like the race that like whoever's the slowest wins.
Yes.
So they you're just going
Don't
really
say that out loud
slowly.
because when the next Olympics in Japan, it's gonna be there. The slow bike race.
Yeah.
It'll be all your fault.
But I haven't yet seen the slingshot one where you can like grab your partner and sort of sling them
what?
forward.
Is that a thing?
What's that? That sounds like Road Rash.
Isn't there the one that I saw you like grab their arm and you sort of sling them forward?
Does
and
that
then
work?
I think so.
While you're,
Maybe I
while
just
you're
saw-
biking?
Unless that was just, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I saw that
Now I'm really curious because
because
that's 50-50. You could have made that up, or that could be real.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was discussing this with a friend, and we think they should have one with weapons because
That's Road
I don't
Rash.
know if you watched
Yeah.
Cavendish last night. He basically took one of them
Took
out,
some out, yeah.
like, and it looked quite deliberate. I don't think it was, but it looked very. So we were sort of suggesting like having knives on the wheels and stuff, and you can like,
Carmageddon.
Yeah, there's
pretty
definitely
much.
this.
I think
this
that'd be awesome.
This kind of falls into that category of the Super Olympics, where you basically allow people to do whatever they can to win a race or an event, and you just let them take as many drugs as you want, just to see how far the human body can go before it pops.
Yeah,
I would like to see some of that.
cool.
I find the Olympics kind of weird. It's like it's there for a bit, and then just as you're getting used to it, it's not on anymore.
No.
And you've picked up all this
And you
useless
gotta wait.
information that doesn't last the 4 years
No,
till it comes around again. And
It's like the start of a series.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm not.
it's like if Game of Thrones was every 4 years. You'd like, who's that character?
Yeah.
I'm like that after 1 year. Like, which one?
Yeah, you need a. The family trees are good for that.
Yeah.
Very good for that. Very good. Cool. All right. Star Wars news. There was a new Star Wars trailer. So we talked about this just before we started, and it's an interesting response. So I've seen it.
Yep.
You
I
have.
deliberately closed my eyes when it was on.
Andy deliberately closed his eyes
'Cause
when it
I
was
don't-
on.
I don't like seeing too much. Don't give it too
That's
much
fine.
away.
That's good. And Tim isn't sure.
I don't think I've seen it.
Okay.
But,
the last shot will dictate whether you've seen it or not.
Oh, I know what the last
Yeah.
shot is.
You will have probably seen
Even though
a
I
still
didn't see
image
it.
of it, but it's
Are you
So-
going to give me any more?
so a certain character. Yeah, that guy shows up at the end of the trailer. Have you seen that
No.
trailer? Okay, cool. This is interesting because it's like I saw it, but I didn't. I knew it was kind of coming out because they did it during Thursday Olympics, which is when all the big trailers are shown, apparently. But I wasn't that excited for it. It's not like I was waking up going, oh, it's here. I just woke up and went, oh yeah, that happened yesterday. I better watch that. And then watched it, and I don't really get anything from it. I'm excited,
Like,
in principle, but physically, nothing's like new Star Wars film.
no.
Yeah.
I think I blew it all on the last one.
I think you did. That's kind of what we talked about beforehand, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
The hype
Well,
was never ever going to
Yeah.
match.
yeah.
And we kind of suspected this, I think. Did we not?
I would like you guys to watch it because the CG is quite interesting, and the look of it is quite interesting. Well, 'cause
Interesting is
we've-
not like a good word.
No,
you
it's not,
use
but I
to
don't-
describe CG.
No, because I'd like to have a chat about it, but I don't want to feed you full of what I think before you see it. So I'd rather you kind of
Okay.
maybe watch it afterwards. And
I will
we'll have a
probably
chat
watch it
and
because I'm
come
not
back.
as precious about what.
All right,
Like,
2 weeks
not
time.
watching it.
Yeah. Let's do a bit of
Recap.
We'll do a. We haven't done a big Star Wars thing for a while. Cool. All right. So I'm gonna go first this week with my thing, and my thing is linked to the fact that I left my job.
Yay!
Congratulations!
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, I am now a freelance filmmaker, trying to do freelancey things after being in a job for a while.
Yep.
Full time, and it's a definite change to my lifestyle. I think I had pretty big mood swings before, and now they're even bigger, based on whether I have people calling me up for work or not, which is good. But you guys have been freelance for quite a while now. Any advice?
Well, how are you finding it so far?
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's really bad.
My advice is, as much as you are able to, be proactive, but don't worry in the times you don't have work.
Yeah, don't panic.
Because you will have work and you will be busy, and use that other time to either do stuff in your life or to learn stuff or whatever. That's the only chance you get for any of that. So
I've started to figure that I need slightly more of a distraction something that maybe isn't sat at my computer, because I think when I'm sat at my computer, I feel like I should be working or looking for work or doing stuff, and I find that a lot of the time when I'm at my computer not working, I'm not really doing anything.
Yeah,
So I'm trying to find things that will amuse me that are useful away
Right.
from the computer to distract me during those times when stuff doesn't
Yeah.
appear.
Would writing be?
Writing's one of them.
Yeah.
I've been trying to make a little film, a Pokemon film, for a little while. Not like a narrative thing. I just want to do a nice little retrospective because Pokemon's big at the moment, and I'm still playing Pokemon Go. Just about.
Yeah.
It's
Quite
not. I'm falling.
yet.
I'm falling off.
What level are you?
I think I'm level 18, which is alright.
Out of-
But everything's people getting to like 30. People are starting to get towards the cap, which I think is 40. So I'm slipping, and I don't feel the need to pull it out every time I go for like a 2-second walk to the shop around the corner. I'm just like, actually, no, that's fine. And now when we decide to go for a walk, it's no longer dictated by Pokestops. It's actually now it's like, actually, let's go for a walk somewhere else.
Has it trained
Maybe
you to
doesn't
walk?
have
more?
them. I've done a bit more walking,
Yeah.
but I've had some spare time to do that walking in, so
true.
that's helped. But it's definitely been a good reason to get out of the house. I think I'm less likely, because I don't like exercise. I don't like going out running, but I'll quite happily run on the treadmill when I can have I can watch a film or listen to stuff and not have to worry about where the hell I am. Pokemon kind of was a good reason to go out and walk towards stuff rather than just aimlessly walking, which is nice in one way, but I probably wouldn't do that as often as I would with Pokemon. But anyway, it's dropping off. But no, I'm going to
What's
make
your Pokemon film going to be?
It's just going to be it's not really going to be called anything. It's literally just a nice little retrospective. I have lots of old Pokemon stuff that I've brought out. I have a box of it. It's down there, and I'm just gonna shoot a little box of memories with Pokemon stuff. It would be a couple of minutes, couple of seconds maybe, not very long. It'll just be a nice thing. But that's been a thing I've been trying to do, like as a time taker upper.
Yeah.
How do you find your concentration doing that?
I haven't done it yet. I've just been collecting things for it because
Right.
I've had to rebuy some stuff.
Okay.
Because certain items that I used to have gone missing, which is really annoying. Because some of them are actually worth some money. I've lost a lot of my Pokemon cards,
Oh, right.
and it's really annoying. Because to buy the replacements, because they're really quite key things. Like everyone had the cards, everyone had like Charizard, everyone wanted Charizard, and I had that, and it's like 50 quid on eBay, and it's like I'm not rebuying that when I have it somewhere. I've looked,
Oh, well.
and it's gone, but.
Life goes on.
Anyway, so we all met at the place I used to work. Tim used to work there as well, and Andy has been freelancing there for a while. But we all met there, and I thought it's kind of interesting, having been in that job for pretty much 10 years. That's probably the longest I've spent anywhere in one place, which is weird. Even other than home, that's the longest time. So that was back in 2006. And I thought it'd be kind of interesting to run up a list of things that didn't exist at that point that exist now. It's quite interesting. You guys seen this list, or
Yeah.
run through it?
Yeah, I did have a quick look.
Yeah.
You throw.
The big one is so back in 2006 there was no iPhones or smartphones, which I think to me and Tim is a big deal. To Andy, who hasn't really been keeping up with smartphones,
Well, no,
not such a big deal, but it's
I
weird.
was late to smartphones.
Yes, you're there now though.
Yeah.
What have you got?
Nexus 5X.
Andy's reading the back of his phone.
Yeah, I think that's the way it should be.
Mm.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not so...
No?
No, mobile phones maybe,
Mm.
but iPhones and stuff like that. Smartphones, not really.
No.
Because I'm a bit older. It's like
No.
mobile phones were the first,
Game changer.
Yeah, it was
Texting.
around about when I went to university, leaving school kind of age.
Yeah.
And yeah, the difference, I guess I would have been amongst the last people to have got that once I was 18 or whatever, because after that everybody gets them when they're
Yeah.
who knows how young now, but it's very different. That's the last sort of era of not being able to just call or message your friend
Yeah.
without getting some time on the family computer or arranging to meet up with somebody,
Knocking on
or
someone's door, walking to their house and
Yeah.
hoping they're in,
yeah.
just wanting to play football and trying to get enough guys together for a team.
Oh, God.
That's what it used to be. You would leave school and be like, anyone want to play football tonight? And no one would really give you a good answer. And then you had to go and march around your streets, get in at least 10 people together, and it meant you had to go door to door, and it didn't always work out. And then you have to bring in like strong arm tactics to try and force these people out of their house. It was really hard work.
Wow, I feel like you're giving away a bit too much.
No, it wasn't bad, but you just get very, very like, you must come out, we need to make up the teams. And then people will be like, oh, okay. And then we'll go to the park and play football, and it'd be great. Hard work, though.
Yeah.
You can do that in 2 seconds, just sat here.
Yep.
No, it's weird.
So for me, it's more
I mean, it is weird. Basically, mobile phones, when they first came out, they were a communication device. Basically, phone calls and texting.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing, like having a portable sort of thing. And then smartphones came in, and basically a smartphone is like a small portable computer that does computery things.
Well, it is now, but when they first came in,
Yeah, I think my first.
Do you think it
much
was too
more-
gradual to become a sort of like because it was over a space of.
for me, I remember it being
sort
a
of-
gradual thing. Like
Yeah.
the iPhone was
I mean,
not
the
my
mo-
first.
So do
smart
you think that like, because it's been 10 years, like they're now at the stage where it's pretty good. I think for the past few years they've been pretty competent.
Yeah.
But do you think that's like a good jump in time? Because we always kind of look at technology as it is now, and you look at like people who are showing the future to us, like through films and books and TV, and you're kind of like, oh, it'd be cool if that existed. It'd be cool if that existed. But I find now that I'm looking at my phone, I'm like, oh, that is the thing that used to be in computer games, used to be in sci-fi films, and now it's there, and it's like suddenly it's there, and I'm like, oh, I've actually had that for quite a while. Is 10 years kind of like quite a short amount of time for that to have happened in?
Well,
Going from the
sure.
phone, but to now what you
I
have
mean,
in your pocket.
it's not. I'm not sure I look at it as 10 years per se in this case, right? It seems like that happened a bit earlier to me, to where we are now. But regardless of what you say, 15 years or even 20, like it's a short amount of time for such a revolutionary sort of change. But things are getting quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think also like it's funny that the smartphones are quite powerful now, but most people still use them for making phone calls, texting their friends, or WhatsApping or whatever. Maybe, and then basically the sort of internet capabilities of it opens up another sort of dimension. But like as a sort of portable computer, I don't know if that gets sort of fully utilized. Maybe for gaming, but it's like a portable game.
Do you mean like cutting out the laptop kind of phase of things? Like if you could quite happily go with like an iPad or a phone and be like, I don't need the laptop anymore, I can do everything I did on that on my device.
I think it's just the fact that we most of us carry around a sort of handheld computer, and if you'd said that to me, sort of 20 years ago, when a computer was a sort of kind of quite chunky piece of equipment that you had to plug in and things would load up and stuff. I mean, that's a massive deal, and you'd be like, "Oh my god, that's amazing!" And think of all the like cool stuff you can do. And now.
Yeah, and if
Most
you could buy
people-
for 30 quid like a 30 gigabyte like SD card,
Yeah.
Oh
you
man,
could
I
just-
did
you know.
not put down
Exactly.
what drives cost.
Oh yeah, memory. What?
And how much
big?
you got.
How
back
big
in,
are files
like,
that we used to
2006.
have to
That was insane.
like drives? What was an average hard drive? And
Well,
Well,
when I first started, and I think some of these still are in your garage because I took them all when Juice got rid of them. But the Avid hard drives used to be like oh god,
are they
they
measured
were
in
like
gig or
serialized, so they were
megabytes?
connected to each other, but they were each individual units and they all linked to each other.
Yeah.
Almost like a little RAID, but I suppose it is a little RAID really. But they were about this big.
Yeah.
Like, what's that in something that people
About a
audibly
foot.
can-
Sorry, I'll go about like
yeah, by about a foot, by half
yeah,
foot,
it's
let's
pretty.
say,
It's a
or-
pretty big thing, and I think they were only like 250 gigs each, and then you had maybe 4 or 5 of those.
yeah.
And fucking hell, Tim just exploded.
Sorry.
All this talk of megabytes, gigabytes, terabytes, getting you all excited.
I still have the end of this cold. I'm sorry.
Really made me jump.
It's because I was just about to say something as well.
Do you remember what it was?
Just that 250 gigabytes is just such ridiculously huge size compared to just go back 5 years before that. I mean,
Oh yeah. No, it's gone in jumps.
it's all relative, but
You were saying 250 gigabytes. These.
yeah.
Or, yeah.
Yeah. But this was like high end. This is like
Yeah, oh,
high end
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
This was
It's
stuff
like
that was like
thousands
this
of
is
pounds.
this is
Yeah.
the top end of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's not much compared to now when you can pick up a 2 terabyte little portable hard drive for 70 quid.
Yeah, I think I mean the data transfer speeds at that in those type, you're talking
Yeah.
like several hours to copy
Well, let's not
files
get
across.
too bogged down by the technical
No,
specifications.
but I'm just
of hard disks
remembering.
20
I'm just
years ago.
We could do this all day.
I'm just remembering trying to
No, it's
copy
good. It's-
a video file that's
Yeah.
like a gig or something.
But even like, I mean, we could go into codecs as well. It's like when I first started at Juice, it was like the kind of files you were making for people to possibly view, and then for other people to view on another computer. You're making like 3 things. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's so absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, all right. Well, let's keep going down the list. So Facebook wasn't around, really. Facebook went public in 2006. So literally just as I started and met you, and then I think the summer after that, I started in just before Christmas, 2006, and then I met Andy in 2007, and you met Andy in 2007
Indeed.
as well. And we had no Facebook at the start of that time, and I didn't pick up Facebook for a little while. And that's, again, another interesting thing. I put that in the same category as the phone. It's just like something that is so embedded in everything now.
Yeah.
We didn't even know what it was, like all those years ago.
Yeah,
I find
no.
that weird. Like, it's the same with the phones. It's just like something that we take for granted now wasn't a thing, and wasn't even like it was a concept, but we didn't really know it was coming.
Yeah.
Just weird.
Yeah. I think I remember.
No. Just because I've started using Facebook more and more and more, like in the past sort of couple of years, and it's at every website, it's every company, it's literally everything.
Yeah,
And
but where are the yellow pages now?
I don't know. Little kids stand on them to try and get a kiss from a girl, don't they? Isn't that the use of the yellow pages?
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah,
Old
we're
school.
old people. We're old people. Yeah. All right. Well, let's keep going. Google didn't own YouTube, so YouTube was still a nice little thing in 2006. No Android either. That didn't come along until 2010, which is what you're on, Andy, I believe.
Yes, I use Android.
That's even later. Which is that surprised me. I thought that and iPhones kind of came out at the same time.
So when was the first
It was-
iPhone?
2007.
Ah,
But I didn't get an iPhone until 3, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did they even do a 2? Did 2 exist? Because 1
I
and 2
can't
were like...
remember.
I'd be interested to know how clunky the original ones are.
Mm.
Which?
iPhones.
Oh, pretty
Yeah,
clunky.
it's well, I like... have you picked up the iPad 1, like the very first iPad they made? That's actually, like, it's not that old, but it feels kind of retro. 'Cause it's really
Yeah.
chunky, but it's like, I really like this. And it's not that old. And like when you pick up, like, a little
Yeah.
camera or something, it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
cool. This is, like, 30 years old.
Yeah.
Like, iPads
I guess
are already having that
technology
effect.
changes so quickly that retro is like 5. I pick up my an old phone. I
Yeah,
keep all
yeah.
my phones. I've still got my
Yeah.
original mobile phone, and it's a lot bigger than I remember it. my Nokia 30.
What you should do with that is you should bring it on the podcast and just read out some text messages. I think
Yes,
maybe we should all do that.
Maybe.
Do you think it would turn on?
Hilarious.
I'm not sure. It's a good idea, but yeah.
I actually find
It did.
it's like photos as well. It's like finding that pack of undeveloped film. It's like now it's like you pick up a phone that you never transferred your stuff off of. Like before you had iPhones and
Yeah.
everything was easier. Like I got a couple of phones that still have photos on that I've never transferred, so I could turn that back on and there'd be some photos
Yeah.
from back when I was in secondary school, which would be weird. Maybe we should do that.
I think the thing that's changed more than this list of stuff, though, is our expectations.
You reckon?
I reckon it's very hard to think of something that you think. For example, if I said in 10 years' time, we will all be like in
Hoverboards.
self-driving cars or, like hoverboards maybe or whatever, you can kind of go like, oh, yeah, maybe.
Mm.
Whereas like...
Oh, you think it's changed in a good
Do you
way?
think it's accelerating?
No, I mean, I think our expectations have changed, right? So, and everyone else as well, in terms of generational flows and everything. It's like 10 years ago, maybe a bit because we were younger and a bit because we were kids, but I think the pace was different and our expectations were different. Like, I think if somebody said, "Hey, you're gonna get like this like portable computer you can take around with you. It will know your GPS coordinates within like a meter. You can like take a video of like 120 frames a second in 4K. You know what? Blah 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 blah." You'd be like,
Get out of town.
"Get out of town." And even if you believed them, you'd be like, "That is so awesome." But the response now, if you go, you know, oh, you know, in 10 years' time, you'll be able to do all of that from like, I don't know, like a bracelet that goes around your wrist or something, or what's even, I don't even know.
But it's not a huge leap. I think we were all sold a lie in the 80s, and we're only just
tomorrow's
getting,
world screwed everybody up. I think tomorrow's world was
we're only
Yeah.
now getting the technology that we were promised like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like we thought, you know, in 2000 we'd all have all this stuff, and it never happened. So I think you're right. I think our expectations then dropped quite a bit, because I think we were just like mostly the same as it was before. Okay, computers are a little bit. You don't have to wait so long to load them up. But I think there was definitely like, yeah, it's been a delay, but now everything's catching up, and I think the sort of technology you're talking about isn't as big a leap. Sort of like a bracelet that does the same as an iPhone isn't a massive, because you've got the watches.
It is a huge leap.
It is,
but to us, it just thinks, yeah, that'll happen. Things get smaller, things get more powerful. It's going to happen.
yeah. Well, yeah.
If there's no like, oh my god, that would be so difficult to do that. None of that. It's just assumed. Yeah, that'll happen. That's just what people do. That's just what we do. We just make stuff smaller and quicker.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think our expectations have changed more than just bits of technology.
That's interesting.
Over the last 10 years.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah,
think. What would you? I mean, sorry to spring this on you, but what would you want in the next 10 years? What are you expecting then in the next 10 years? Like, what's the big thing that you think in 10 years' time, given what we've like learned from the last 10?
I'd say proper immersive VR.
Back on VR again, aren't we?
Yeah. But it's
No,
it's
I think-
becoming
I
a
think
thing
that's-
again.
Yeah, totally.
But I think there's like, I think, you know, going back to your example of what in 10 years' time, I find it hard to believe that in 10 years' time we'll have sort of VR that feels like totally immersive, because there's so many complicated bits of technology that can make that happen, unless there's suddenly a sort of someone goes, I know how you can plug straight into the brain, and then you just solve all the problems instantly.
Yeah.
I find that's quite a big leap, but that's the ultimate is basic, I think.
I want to know what happened to virtual pets. They were around
They're
for a
still
bit.
alive.
Like
They're just
Tamagotchi.
very hungry.
Like Tamagotchis.
No, well, yeah, there was Tamagotchi, and then there was like, this is another thing that was like, we were promised a thing that never happened. There was do you remember Sony's Aibo? I've mentioned this a couple of times, I think.
dog.
I remember it. Yeah. It was like, they did like two versions, like two major redesigns, and that was a kind of a cool little bit of technology, and it's like, that never went anywhere. And neither, that Honda
I think
robot
the
that
novelty
you see everywhere,
goes.
it's like that's been around for a while, and it's like it just keeps playing football.
Yeah.
It's like it never gets to the next one. It's like,
Well, I think
what
that's
happens?
it. They get to a
That's
point where it's
Robotics is the thing that needs to
makes it a
come
lot
up.
harder, and then there's and I think, yeah, our expectations are like, well, you can make it walk, why can't you make it like cook? And
I would totally take a robot pet.
okay,
I would put money in that. If I had money, that's where I'd put it.
I think there's a big room for improvement with robotic pets, but I think they'll always be quite a luxury, kind of, obviously. But what I think is more likely to have huge advances in is probably medical. I think in a way we are still on the edge of being a little bit arcane. And I think like genetically tailored like medicines will be the norm. I think we'll have like just
Does this go back to the whole
body scans, like loads more
like, because I always like, it's a horrible way to put it, but I always thought like back through time, wars kickstart an awful lot of this stuff, like the kind of medical robots that you're talking about. If there was a war, there would be a need for some of that stuff, and that would kickstart the need to kind of go, actually, we really need to focus everything on that, instead of just going, well, we could do anywhere because there's no real threat. It's like we put
The stuff I imagine is
research
not
bit here.
not robots, and the stuff I imagine is not would not be particularly benefited by war, because I think in a war you're concentrating on killing the enemy, and I think although medicine would be part of that,
Yeah.
I think-
I'm talking about like scanning for future diseases and stuff like that just wouldn't be like that.
I think a lot of technology that was developed in the war that wasn't necessarily developed specifically for killing people, then we used, telecommunications, all that sort of stuff, and computer.
Sure.
I mean, the computer
there's
was
no
general.
doubt
Yeah,
that there's a general
technology
technological-
the computer was based on was developed to crack codes and stuff. So I think there's a lot, like it does accelerate it and it prioritizes it. It's like the moon, the race to the moon. That again, you throw enough money at it, you sort of create a lot of technology, and that was a
we
big
have to be,
sort of
we have to be
acceleration.
first, therefore,
Yeah,
money's
yeah.
no object, and it gets done.
Yeah,
Surprise,
exactly.
surprise.
Yeah. So I think in that sense.
I So what if I told you in 20 years' time we could choose to live to like 2,000 years old?
Cool. Would I be old
Well, firstly,
for all of that?
do you think that that's kind of plausible or possible?
In how long?
20 years.
I definitely think that the final outcome, if we start developing more AI, that it will either destroy us or it'll get to the stage where we can put ourselves in AI and our thoughts and memories can exist that way. So physically, the body would, but I think
I'm talking about biologically.
No,
Okay, and
I don't think so.
I think there could be. It's not totally out of the realm of possibility. 2,000 years probably pushing it.
okay, let's say 500 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Very
So
different.
I think
Well,
we could.
Well, 500 years is like it's like 7 of our lifetimes. Maybe?
There are animals that live to
So-
500, whereas
Oh, so do you mean 500
like-
years lifespan, not in 500 years that will be invented?
Correct.
No, it's I think that's a very big barrier to get over,
Yeah.
because that's like an evolutionary thing that's been embedded in it for a long, long time. You can hit the spacebar if you want. It would be good to bring that back so we know what the time is. There we go. All right. Where was I?
Well,
I-
I just wanted to know whether I could inspire the reaction that we would have had kids about like a
Oh,
1
yeah,
terabyte
yeah,
hard
yeah,
disk.
I think it's very
Right.
unlike. Sorry, Carol.
Well, no, but if it did,
I think there's no need for that. I don't think there's a need for that. If there was a need for that, again, like if there was a war and the population went down, I think there might be a need for something like that. But at the moment, there's no need for it. Therefore, there's no reason.
but there's no
But-
need for
push
like a
it.
VR experience. There's no need for like a 1 terabyte hard disk. There's no like.
No, but it makes your life easier. Like I think what that that doesn't fundamentally change society. What fundamentally would change society if people were living to 1,000? That would screw everything up. Absolutely everything would be screwed up.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's something that would be allowed.
I think it's
to
quite
happen.
dangerous if that happens. But like
It's like,
the
what's the reason?
possibility that you're saying is that you could the possibility, and like it's very unlikely, but there could be just like one thing that they go, oh, we found the gene that
It's
ages
like
you.
sharks, isn't it? No,
For
sharks have all
So
the
I
good,
think
sharks have all the good
there's a
genes.
guy who's worked out basically the 5 main causes of why our cells degrade in the way they do, and tackling each one by one, and
I'm just imagining
It
a
could
guy
happen.
with a gene. Just
I mean, the thing is, it probably will happen at some point, maybe.
right.
I think there would need to be. I think everything. I mean, everything's
Maybe
going to
not
happen
in
at some
our
point.
lifetime.
Like for as long as our kind of civilization.
Do you
humanity
think you
continues,
felt like that
everything will happen?
10, 20 years ago? Do you think you felt like everything's going to happen at some point?
Yeah, I
Or did you feel like we were somehow more limited as a race?
No, I think I always thought it was going to happen. I've always had the thought, which is why I don't recycle so much. I've always thought that it's just going to be way out of my lifetime, so it's not even worth like thinking about. But I do think everything kind of has to be possible. because I mean, this then goes into the big discussion when you start to look at the universe and realize what we don't really know what's going on out there. So you kind of feel like, well, if it's that big and that infinite, then everything has to be possible. At some stage, we just have to live long enough to do that. Maybe that's the reason to live for 1,000 years.
There is. I have read a sort of interesting theory that basically, if there is a catastrophic event in the sort of near future, then the point where that happens is the peak of our civilization.
Oh yeah,
because basically we've used up so many like basic resources of the planet.
Yeah.
That if there's a big catastrophic event that kind of like, you know, wipes out half the population or like 90%, then there's no way we can get back to how we are because the natural resources aren't there to enable it.
So this is possibly the reason why
we're getting quiet.
No. This is good. This is really interesting, and it's really hard to describe. So I'll try it. But it's like this is the reason why we might be alone in the universe. It's like we are either the very unique exception to the rule where we've gone past the extinction point, or we haven't quite reached it yet, and we will invent something that is the generic end civilization thing that has happened many other places around the universe. But we're either before that or after it. If we're after it, then that's the reason we haven't found anything else, is because we're the one in a whatever big number that is that has got through that, and there is no one else who's got past that. It's like that is maybe the way to describe it. I think Brian Cox does a thing on it, and he explains it way better. Despite me not liking him very much, he does explain that very well. Yeah, I didn't expect that list.
Yeah.
To go, we didn't even get halfway through it to go there, but I did.
That was cool.
I enjoyed
concept.
that. Yeah, getting deep for a change. All right, well, Wheeze didn't exist. Assassin's Creed wasn't out. If you're interested in games, let's rattle through these. The Star Trek reboot hadn't happened. Transformers as a movie franchise did not exist.
Had reboots happened?
I was thinking about that. I think Star Trek was... I don't think so.
What was one of the first reboots? Batman...
Oh, Star Wars
Begins.
was kind of... yeah, Batman was a big one.
When was that? That was
round
about then.
2004?
I guess Star Wars was the biggest.
But Star Wars wasn't
one.
a reboot, was it? It was prequel, so it was still within the universe.
Reboot is different to remake.
Yeah. Sorry. So, yeah.
I mean,
like
Bond kind of reboots quite a bit. So maybe that's the original rebooter.
Yeah.
But if you go outside of Bond, I don't know. Write in. Someone write in and tell us.
I think Star Trek was a sort of a fairly big.
Yeah,
But we used to have a lot of 60s reboot of like Mission Impossible. That was
But they were like just movie versions of TV shows. That was like the Avengers and stuff.
Yeah.
Marvel Avengers. That was like the Avengers, but it wasn't really because they hadn't got into, and we talked about this before about how everything's now a cinematic universe. Like they hadn't really got into that, so it was just like, well, this is a TV show. We'll make that into a movie, and they took a load of old shows and made them into movies.
Yeah.
They weren't necessarily
like the
in
first
it for the long
reboot
run.
of Spider-Man.
But was Spider-Man?
Was that ever a feature film?
Yeah, I think it was. It was just real bad. Like, it was definitely a TV show.
Yeah.
I don't know if they made a film. They made some.
You're suggesting that
go and look on the internet.
Spider-Man reboots are good.
No, I mean like the original. Tobey
it's
Maguire
like worse.
was not necessarily a reboot. But yeah, go and check out YouTube for the old Marvel movies.
I think I've seen the
really
Fantastic Four ones.
But old Marvel.
So there's like a lot of Marvel movies that were made just for no
great-
money. There was like a period in maybe I want to say the 70s because everything was made in the 70s.
No, there was one. There was a 90s version of Fantastic Four.
There's a version of Fantastic Four that got made but never was released.
Right.
That exists
because it was so bad.
Yeah. It was just generally probably a tax write-off or something like that. But yeah, there's some real bad Marvel films. I think they made like the Avengers.
Oh, you covered this one. They basically to retain copyright. They had to produce a film or something.
That may have been why they were doing it. Fantastic Four just can't cut a break. I saw that new one and it was terrible. If not, made a good one. What are the other good ones? Twilight wasn't a thing, which is cool, and Marvel Studios hadn't started, so we had no Iron Man. We had none of what we have every year. There was none of that. It wasn't even a thought. It was just like, this is... Superhero movies, I guess, weren't really a thing at that point, other than Spider-Man. Superman came back, but that didn't work either. Like, Superman came back and wasn't successful. Spider-Man wasn't successful at that point because we were in Spider-Man 3 territory, and that wasn't very good. So it kind of been like superhero movies are on the down and out. like X-Men. What was the third one? Last Stand wasn't very good either. So I think it was just it dropped for maybe 2 years, and then Iron Man came out, and everything. Well, it brings us to where we are today. So anyway, yeah, 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I've known you for 10 years.
Finally, we should celebrate.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, it's alcohol on the table. We're drinking sherry and red wine because we're old.
Not together.
That'd be nice.
Not combined,
Yeah, it could
mixed. It's all the same thing,
It's
isn't
all
it?
just grapes. Grapes at different stages of their
Liquid.
life.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Tim. What do you got?
Well, I was thinking about talking just very briefly about the thoughts on the future of toys. Toys, I guess, kind of for kids. Those kinds of toys. Saw something recently which kind of just made me think about it. And do you remember what it was called?
Yeah, we you were looking at Infinite Arms,
Infinite
which
Arms.
is an Unreal Engine game that's going to be part of this Toys to Life thing that's happening now. I think that's the phrase that's being thrown around.
Toys to Life.
That's
Yeah.
what these are. That's
That's right.
That's a Toys to Life. That's an amiibo. That's the Nintendo brand of Toys to Life. More emphasis on the toy than the life in that case, but we'll get on to that. But that's what they are.
So yeah, obviously it's a very obvious thing is to try to add something into what toys we've always had. And one way to do that is to use a smartphone, which everybody has, and so you create some kind of hardware link between the toy and some software that runs on the phone. That's what's happening right now. That's kind of interesting. Infinite Arms is one of these where you kind of like buy weapons that you can actually plug onto someone's arm, and then in the game it reflects that character then has that weapon and that upgrade.
That's when it's cool.
Pay to win.
Does that actually exist? Because
I think that's what it is.
Because I looked at the thing and it's like that's the thing that I find super cool about it is that whole. Because the thing is, it's like toys have done what we were talking about earlier. They haven't really advanced much. Like everyone wanted like Buzz Lightyear one year, and it didn't really do anything. It didn't fly. No toys fly other than drones, and kids can't have them. So your toys have to go and do these more fantastical things, and the way they get around that is they say, okay, buy this piece of plastic, buy this computer game, buy this piece of hardware that kind of connects the two, put your toy on top of that, and then your toy that doesn't do much will go into the computer game and will do way more. That's where toys go. That's their next evolution. But it's kind of, I don't know, I find it slightly limiting.
I don't get it at all, because like the idea of a toy is you play with the toy and you use your imagination. You kind of like, I don't know. This is from my experience of toys in the 80s.
This is just sounding dangerously close to what a film is compared to a book.
No, hear me out.
Okay.
So your example of buying a weapon for the toy, you've got this cool toy.
Yeah.
Right. In the olden days, you'd have a battle with the toy, and you'd fight another toy with the thing. In this version,
Star Wars versus Thundercats.
you get your toy, you plug in the new weapon, and then you go back to your smartphone. So you just go, I've got a new weapon. Stick the toy next to you, and then you're back into the. And so the toy is kind of irrelevant. Basically, the toy is just you spending money to get the thing that you want in the game. So it's just like an in-game purchase.
This depends on who you are. Like this has been around for a little while, and there are a few tiers of this Toys to Life thing. Some of them I think are great, and some of them I don't think are very good. And I think they're all for kind of different people. So Pokemon's a great example.
Because I can kind of get that one bit more.
Really?
Because I don't think that's for people like you who like Pokemon and like to have things on your shelf.
So this
and then playing games.
Sure. So this is tier 1.
Yeah.
This figure does nothing in real life other than sit on a shelf and look cool.
Yeah.
I think it looks cool.
Yeah, it does look cool.
So that I get more than the sort of samples that Tim's talking about.
There are various levels of toy collecting. Mine is like pretty passive. There are those who like to build models, and there's Lego Dimensions, which is another Toys to Life thing, and that's kind of on the verge of being really cool because everyone likes Lego. We all like Lego. We've talked about this before. Good. We all like Lego. So that is a computer game where you kind of think, okay, well, if I have Lego and I have a computer game and I can combine the two, in my mind, that's like the thing I make in Lego, I can put in the computer and I can then play with that. So you get to build your Lego thing and then you get to see it realized in Lego. Now, Lego don't do that with Lego Dimensions, which kind of sucks because you get a little figure and you put it on a little paddle.
It's pretty
one of
much
these,
like that.
And that figure goes into the game. So you basically buy figures like this. You still have Lego and you can still build things around it. You can still accessorize that figure, but it doesn't change anything in the game, and that kind of sucks. Then you move on to this thing, which, if it works out, feeds very heavily into the kind of model maker market, because these things look way more detailed and way more like robots, like this kind of thing, or like maybe a transformer up there. And if what Tim says is true, which I really hope it is, you get both. You get to make your model, and you get to buy things for it, and you get to make that model look cooler on your shelf, and it's posable. And then when you put that into your game, everything you've built gets realized in the game. And that's just another way to use that figure. It does the toy thing, which you like up there on the shelf, looks cool, and you can play with it, and you can fight them if you really want, or you can put it in your game and be like, cool, everything I'm actually buying for this means something. Because buying those means very little other than looking cool. So there's like 3 different tiers that I find kind of fascinating about this.
But I understand how, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I understand how for Andy it might fall in the gap, in the sense that if it's going to do that, it should do something much cooler and much more involving, rather than it...
What, in real life?
Well, both. Like...
That's why I think this is cool, because I think this kind of does. Like, this is a way
what I'm saying is that maybe it doesn't do enough to be that genuine.
I wouldn't class it as a toy necessarily, what you're talking about. You're talking about the sort of collectors... And so this looked like, from the trailer that Tim sent, it looked like it was aimed at sort of kids, sort of young teenagers, or sort of who are still into toys but also into computer games. But if that's the point, then I don't get it. If it's kind of what you're talking about, which is for older people who are like collecting stuff, and like, then that makes more sense to me. But I didn't get that from the trailer. That
maybe
and the whole toy thing is
what is
like
a toy?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're talking about having a model that you like looks cool, and you know, and I understand there is a big thing for collectors who like, you know, they're into computer games and they like to get the models for the games and stuff like that. But like, I think that's separate to a sort of toy.
Can I ask a quick
thing.
question?
Yeah.
If you, because this is basically kind of plausible right now, it's just not something that I don't think they're going to make yet. But take the Lego example, and let's say that you load up an iPad and there's a castle and you have to break down the walls. And so you have to make a catapult out of Lego.
Yes.
And all the bits of Lego that you put together are mirrored exactly in the game.
Yes.
And how well it works and launches it is how well it works in real life.
Sounds
is
awesome.
that cool?
That sounds
that's
awesome.
Cool. Okay.
That's where this is going.
So that's what I'm saying. I think this falls short of doing something that cool.
Yes.
And I don't like it for that reason. And so maybe that's why. But I can see why, to your model, it is an improvement from just a static figure.
Yeah.
I just think it hasn't gone far enough.
No, I think it's definitely early days. I mean, the first thing that kind of did this, I think, was Skylanders, and that wasn't that long ago. I mean, this has been around like in popularity for maybe 5 years, so it's pretty early days for it. And I do think that's where it goes, and that's what's cool about it. And I do like as a kid growing up, like I played computer games and I played with action figures, and I actually think it would have been pretty cool to have, like, say, my Star Wars figures, and then have. So the other thing we were going to talk about, and maybe this is the thing that like fills that gap, is. So Disney Infinity doesn't exist anymore, but it did. Now, Disney Infinity was Disney's version of this Toys to Life thing. And what they did is they created these kind of like play sets. So you had these basically levels, and then you had racks and racks and racks full of basically action figures that weren't really posable, but they looked like these kind of nice models of every Disney character.
I
that
do
came
remember
out.
being really expensive as well.
Oh yeah, this is a way to get people to buy stuff. I mean, this is like buy the game and then, hey, buy all this other stuff instead of just buying. I mean, no one just buys a game anymore. You don't buy a computer game and that's it. You buy a computer game and then there's downloadable content. There's all this other stuff that comes with it. It's like if you want to get the most out of it, I suppose. But what they did is they had these like basic levels or complicated levels, and you could put any Disney character into that. And I think that was really cool because that's a place to kind of go, okay, well, I want Aladdin to be in the same universe as one of the Pixar things. So take Woody from Toy Story, and you could play co-op, and you could put those two characters both in the same level, and you could do that with a multitude of characters. And I think that was really cool because you were forever doing that with your toys. I shouted earlier, Star Wars versus Thundercats, and it's like you could potentially do that. And I think that's cool because not only if the figures were better, like Superman here, you could do that on your kind of in your front room, fight them, and then go, actually, if I want to take this to another level, I can go to the computer and I can put them on this paddle and I can do other stuff. I think that's actually a really good thing because you're, in the long run, you're probably spending more money, but at the same time, you're getting quite a lot out of those figures, more so than you would if you went fight. I'm bored of that now, I'll buy the next figure. You can kind of go, I'm bored of that figure here in real world, I'll take it into the virtual world. I think that's kind of cool. And I think that does cater for both. It's like if you're into computer games or into toys, you could either have it sit on the shelf, or you could play with it, you put it in your computer. You could do all of them.
Yeah.
It's neat. It will get there.
No, I think it seems like early days they're trying to sort of monetize it. And so far no one's quite cracked it yet.
No, not at all. I think it will get there, but it's the same as the phones. It's like they kept adding until you get the smartphones we see today. So it's like it will follow that path. Really.
And it's a bit trial and error. You know, you try something,
totally.
see what how.
Disney Infinity crumbled because to Disney it wasn't making enough money, and they stopped it. And it's like, actually, I thought theirs was the coolest.
I mean, I can kind of see it almost being a more sort of closer to the old style Pokemons where you have a lot of something and you buy lots, rather than having quite expensive one-off kind of things that, it's sort of...
Well, you've got to transition as you get older. You've got to have the kind of cheap things, relatively cheap, when you're a kid and you can afford them, and then you get older and you get the bigger, more complicated models that start costing you thousands of pounds.
So what I think is interesting is to try to think about what kind of scenario you can imagine that works quite well. I'm quite surprised that we just off the cuff came up with that Lego castle example because I think that'd be pretty cool.
Oh, the Lego thing should exist.
But
the Lego thing should
if you
exist.
just sort of...
I don't know quite how it would work.
Well, yeah, like I was going to say, so don't completely ignore technical limitations, but for the moment, just, think forward 5 years to there's going to be future tech. Can you think of any kind of toys or any kind of experience where you think actually it would be good to combine like a screen and a toy? Because up until that Lego example, I hadn't really thought of any that I thought actually would be.
I think puzzles could work well. So if you had a physical puzzle that you had to solve to progress in a game or something similar, or vice versa, you had to...
Yeah, it's bringing that kind of virtual reality thing into like kind of a smaller space, isn't it? It's like we spoke about those rooms that exist for virtual reality that are like custom rooms that you can turn into anything, and the walls can be anything once you've got your headset on. And it's a little bit like that. Like I definitely think the Lego example is the easiest one to comprehend, but I think it kind of goes way beyond that. I think it gets to the stage of do you guys see Mario Maker?
No.
So it's probably the only it's. The Nintendo Wii hasn't done well, but Mario Maker is one of the games, and essentially that's a tool set to make Mario levels based on all the Mario games, and that's cool because suddenly you're like, okay, I can make the Mario level to be like this, and I can almost dictate the story, however basic it is. You're limited by Mario levels, but it's quite customizable.
Is that a new thing then?
It's new-ish. It's done quite well.
Because they used to. Some of the early sort of third person shoot, not third person, like Doom and first person shooting, like they had level builders.
Yeah, and I think that's where it goes. Like kids are getting more into games and stuff like that, and the tools. I mean, you guys, Tim specifically is making stuff in game engines, and you're making a game, and those tools are slightly more accessible now. So I think it will get to the stage where you do have, instead of having a toy box as a physical thing, you kind of have it virtually, or maybe a little bit of both. So it's like, okay, well, I'm done playing in this space. Like I used to take my Jurassic Park figures into the garden because it looked more like a jungle. That's great, but now with computing power, it's like I could take those Jurassic Park figures and put them into the computer and be like, okay, I'm going to create my jungle. I'm going to be like, okay, I want this particular thing to happen here, and I can build that because the tools are available. So it becomes like you're almost making your own games out of just the things you have lying around. It's like, today I want to play Star Wars, but I don't want to play Star Wars in my house. I don't want to play it in the garden. I want to play it in Star Wars universe, but I don't want it to be like a platformer, like the games that they release. I want it to be my own thing. So I'll take the levels, the design of those Star Wars levels, and I'll have some kind of way to make that happen. And then I will take my figures and I'll put them in. And it's nice. I don't know. I think
I feel like,
that's a cool thing.
just thinking about this now, I think that there might be quite a, what's the right word? Quite a sudden change. I think there's either a combination of a few bits of tech or a future bit of tech that when we can cheaply and easily know, for example, the position or the combination of physical pieces.
Yes, yeah. I mean, every Lego brick has to have a chip in it, essentially, if we want our thing to happen.
Well, there are other ways to do it, but like, yeah, let's say it was that technology. I'm just thinking, actually, it could really, really explode. Like, you imagine how many people play like tower defense games on their phone, or the not tower defense, like the ones where you have a walled like city or something like that, and you try and keep people out.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
If you buy the physical like defense units or whatever, and you set them up in their positions physically, and it knows where you're keeping them and where you're moving them.
Yeah. It's like playing
There
soldiers.
there was an amazing game that I used to play as a kid called Crossbows and Catapults. You may remember the... No? Oh,
Nope.
man. This is showing my age.
What system?
No.
So this was a game, pretty much what you're talking about, but physical. So and
okay.
the idea is you had
You have
catapults
to
and
use your
crossbows.
hands.
You had catapults with elastic bands and crossbows with elastic bands, and you had these little counters that were about this big, about the size of a 50p piece. And then you'd build walls around your castles and stuff.
Yeah.
And then basically you take it in turns to fire these counters at your opponents to knock down the walls and try and take out their men stuff. And it was an amazing, brilliant game. And you're basically sort of similar sort of thing.
I
can't
think,
believe you've not heard of Crossbows and Catapults.
No, I mean, but there's a lot of games like that exist, and they're quite fun. There's like, have you seen? There's Kerbal Space Program, and there's what's the other one?
So like Sandbox.
Besieged. Is it Besieged? Where you're basically, you could so Kerbal Space Program is build a rocket.
Yeah.
There's a lot of physics involved. You can build what you want, and it very rarely works. If you do it right,
yeah,
it
it takes a lot of.
Yeah, it works with like real physics, and it's like Besieged is the same thing. It's like it's building catapults and things, and it's a bit more sort of down to earth. But those things are great because you feel like, okay, I'm building this thing and I'm putting it together, like you would with Lego. Like my example of what you did is like we would take Lego and we would take our figure and we would put them on the big green rectangle, stick them in the middle or in a chair, and then we'd build around that to basically protect him. Put that thing on wheels and then smash them into each other, and the person whose guy got knocked off first lost. So you'd basically build this weird thing. You'd have poles sticking out and things like that, and you just literally, it hurt because you were just literally ramming your hands together, and Lego bricks were kind of scraping you everywhere. But yeah, I did that as well. I like that whole physics-based game thing. So if you could build your Lego thing, or you could build your whatever thing and just see how it would react, and kind of go, I did that. It's fucking shit and it didn't work, but I did that. I'll make it better next time and I'll learn something in the process. Yeah.
Replay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Well, that's enough of toys.
That's enough of that. Okay, so this is an interesting one to come to at the end. Andy, go for it.
Okay, cool. I just have to get my notes because
You now have to be alert and awake for the last part of the show.
So
how does that feel?
I was thinking the other day. I was trying to do some work. I was working at home, which I hadn't done for a while, and I was trying to do some work. Part of which is rendering stuff, which we've covered before. And I always find myself, I go to the internet for short bursts, and I'll read a news article, I'll watch a short video and stuff. But it's very quick, and actually, a lot of how we now consume media through the internet is when we've got a passing moment where, you know, you're waiting for a bus, you click on your smartphone, you read, you know, you might not even read the whole article because then the bus turns up, so you sort of like, you know, and it's all very quick. You know, you might check
I find
Facebook and you get one of those autoplay videos, and you watch it, maybe 30 seconds of it, that's enough, you scroll past it. So it's very kind of quick fire sort of thing, and I wonder whether that kind of having that sort of fast access affects our general kind of attention span in terms of, you know, that sort of media, and you know, I'm talking about all sorts of media, you know, from reading to video to films to games, you know, all that kind of thing. And I just thought it was quite an interesting idea because, you know, I think there's a lot of, like, media's changed quite a lot over the recent, and doesn't necessarily kind of fit within that sort of idea.
I think, I mean, it's interesting. I think what you're saying is like, where does it go from here? Because like my view, and it always has been my view, like years ago when there weren't quite so many avenues to put stuff out, like Facebook essentially, or YouTube. I mean, YouTube pretty much started while we were at uni, and you come out of uni and go, I've got to make a feature film. I have to make a feature film. That's the be all and end all of what my profession is. And now it's not at all. It's not at all. It's like you kind of go, okay, well, I don't have to make a feature film because it's just as much good stuff happening in TV, or there's just as much good stuff happening as on original content on the internet. And I'm not sure it's like, it's not such a problem. It's just more every single thing that has a screen has a particular attention span and has a particular like length of time someone will watch it, and the content that goes on that device is particularly tailored for that. And I think that's what's interesting. It's like your phone, let's say your phone is 2 minutes and your iPad is 5 minutes and your TV screen is 30 minutes and the cinema screen is 2 hours. It's like, I kind of find that quite interesting. I don't know whether it affects overall attention span. I just think our brain gets used to what it's about to see. It understands the device you've got in your hand and goes, okay, I know what I'm getting from this, I know what I'm going to get from that. So we just have lots of different attention spans instead of one set.
So, sorry, Tim, do you want to?
Well, I was just going to say, I hadn't thought about screens having different lengths of time associated with them. I think that's an interesting point. However, I would say that you could watch a film on your iPad, but what you'll do if you do that is quickly flick between other things or pause it more often or whatever.
Yeah.
There's something about the fact that when you have it in your hands, you want to fiddle.
Yep. Here we go again.
Yeah. So I don't think it's quite as simple as perhaps looking at it like that.
No, it's definitely. I mean, it definitely has a lot of factors. That's, I think, the very simplified version of it. I mean, I said when I saw The Revenant, I literally said after coming out the cinema, it's like, I'm very glad I saw that at the cinema, because there's no way I would have watched that in my home on TV, because it's quite a meandering film. It's not like something that holds your attention because action. It's very visual, very big. And I don't think that translates too well to the small screen. It certainly doesn't translate to the smaller screen. And yeah, I would have sat on my couch and started it and then found an excuse to get up and pause it, and then maybe wouldn't have come back to it, just because of the kind of film it is. It's like that had a very particular place in the cinema. It doesn't translate anywhere else.
No.
I find that super interesting.
So I mean, that's kind of where I kind of, my thought sort of went, was whether it was sort of diverging, and whether, like, because there's this whole thing with the box sets now, and you know, things like The Wire and Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, where you need a lot of attention spread over a long time, and it's basically an investment in the characters, in the plot. You know, the complex plots, lots of characters. Yep. You know, you really have to invest in that sort of thing. So that seems to be a big thing now that's kind of expanded massively. And then you've got the other end is kind of like compressed, and you know, all your online stuff is very sort of quick fire. And I kind of, the traditional movie,
well, that's the word.
Thing,
that's the word. Traditional does not
film,
exist anymore.
Well, I agree. Like, I was thinking good films I saw in the last sort of six months. The Revenant, Quentin Tarantino one.
It was great, I'm sure.
No, the
Hateful Eight.
Hateful Eight.
You like that?
I enjoyed that.
Okay.
And both of them long films, and it was all about like either one specific character. It was very character based, but quite epic. And I sort of, I remember classic films that I really enjoy tend to be like Apocalypse Now and stuff.
Yeah.
Big sort of epic kind of things, and they don't get like I mean those two examples that I've just given, but most of the films that I see at the cinema are short, and they feel quite sort of empty, like in terms of they have they're sort of high on concept and low on a lot of the other stuff.
I think you're talking about blockbusters.
No, no.
But it seems like a lot of film.
It's entirely down to styles. It's like, I mean, we're going through a weird reboot phase at the moment, and it's like that's just the style of the time. So it's like any other stuff that you make within that is going to be very hard to see anywhere. It's like it's just going to be hard to see it. So you maybe don't think that it exists. But what I find interesting, and you almost touched on it earlier, it's TV shows. Like TV is the thing at the moment. That's where a lot of things are happening, and they've kind of very quickly got this subscription model for a lot of shows now, and there are loads of exclusives everywhere. So it's like, I mean, the two things are Netflix and Amazon Prime. So there are shows on either side, and they're all doing things slightly differently. It's like it was once believed that people want everything in one go, and certain people do. So you can literally, like House of Cards comes out, and you can watch the entire new series on one day. If you can fit it all in, you can sit there and watch all of it and blitz through it like that. Now, that's good, but I don't think that's necessarily the best way for TV to work, because that's a film. And I think they messed up there, because it's like people now expect that. So when a new series comes out, it's like, well, why can't I watch it now? People want it now.
But I think people can have a choice to
they
consume
can,
it in different ways.
It's very difficult to, like, when you want to watch something, like, it's very difficult for the human brain to be like, I really want to watch this. I'm not going to do it week by week. And there have been a couple of shows that I've been watching recently. So I've been watching Preacher on Amazon, and I've been watching American Gothic on Amazon as well, I think. And it's like they both are like new episode every Thursday or new episode every Wednesday. And you're like, okay, you're going to make me wait, are you? And you're like, oh, man. But that does really get you riled up for the next one. And it makes you feel like, yeah, that's actually good. That gives me things to have in the week to look forward to. It's like, it's real nice.
But the scheduling thing is the reason why it's changed.
But the scheduling thing doesn't exist anymore. It's like they can do it when they want, and you can watch it when you want. Sure, I'm going with that. But
it's kind of going back to a more traditional kind of like,
well, yeah, it's gone one way, and
sort of
then it's
thing.
gone the other way again. So it's like the subscription model maybe made you think you're going to be able to see everything straight away, and actually now it's gone the other way. And I actually quite like the fact it's gone the other way.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think the whole TV thing has changed, like, yeah, the whole kind of board game, and I think film at the moment is sort of trying to catch up, because it's not quite. I mean, I wouldn't say we're in the like a golden age of cinema. I think cinema, it's like I used to go to the cinema and I'd be excited about going to the cinema, and I'd see some good films at the cinema. Now I feel like there are fewer. Maybe whether it's my taste or whether just the films that are being produced don't match my taste, but I feel like the films are struggling to sort of know where they sit in that kind of that new sort of environment, whether they need to be long, more sort of maybe even like 4 hours or something that you really engage in.
Yeah,
and you kind of commit.
But again, it's the
or
place
whether
where you
it's
see
just
them.
sort of like eye candy, which me personally, I don't particularly enjoy unless it's like really good. But then it needs to be sort of very tight and sort of like short.
I can solve all your problems, Andy. Go to a different cinema. It's like that's the interesting thing. It's like all these other subscription channels started because they all had their own idea of what they wanted to do, so they all started making their own kinds of shows, and they made their own shows. It's like almost cinema chains need to do the same thing. You're going to go to your Empires, you're going to go to your Views, you're going to go to your Odeons, and you're going to only see the stuff that mass media wants you to see. The reason independent cinemas exist, ones that are maybe chains of only like 10 in the country, or ones that are entirely independent on their own, that's where you're now going to see the films that you maybe want to see. And I find that interesting as well. It's like I think there's definitely room for both. It's like there's always going to be like you worry about a big multiplex coming in and taking over from the smaller cinemas, but they do very different things now. And I think that's very cool. So I think it is all down to the size of the screen. It's like where you're going to see stuff. It's like and what your brain's going to expect from that. It's like I know what I'm going to expect from the TV. And now I know what I'm going to expect from that cinema. I know what I'm going to expect from that channel. I know what I'm going to expect from that subscription service. And go to the one you think is putting out the content you like. I think it's just starting to... You just got to find new... It exists. It exists everywhere.
Yeah.
The internet is full of stuff. And you just got to find the right channel for you, I think. It's there.
Do you think if you're at the cinema and you had the chance to like pause and skip through the timeline, you would?
I like the fact that I can't.
No, that's the great thing about the cinema. That's
And
why-
I can't.
If you
I
could,
can't-
if you had that control in your hand and you weren't going to affect
it
other,
would be.
you
Yes.
weren't going to affect other people.
Yeah, I would.
It would be like group
It would be a
choice
nightmare.
as to whether you go for a piss or
I
not.
like
It's
the fact
I want
that
to
I
go for a piss. I'm going to
can't-
vote to stop it now, and everyone has to go.
No,
Yeah,
but I'm thinking like, you know, go into your virtual cinema, for example, if you want to get into the practical of how it would not
Yeah.
influence other people, but say the screen size was the same, say the environment was the same, content was the same, but you had that control, do you think you were just necessarily fiddle?
I think it would ruin it.
I think it's weird because I always had. Did you ever had this when you were growing up? It's like your parents would always say, "Why are you watching that on TV? You have it on tape, or you have it on video, whatever." Your parent, because everyone called VHS something different. It's like, and I would always be drawn to the thing that's on TV because it's live and it's now. It's like I can go in breaks, but
Yeah.
it's happening now. It's like it's not my choice to watch it. It's just on, and
Yeah.
I'll
There's
be
something
fixated
liberating
on it.
about being shown something and
Forced-
not having
yeah,
to.
yeah,
It,
yeah.
it takes
I-
another choice
I-
out of your brain, which
yeah.
makes you relax a whole lot more.
If I was allowed to use my phone in the cinema, I'd be constantly getting it out Internet Movie Database. Who's that actor been in and stuff, and you know, and I admit it kind of ruins the film when you're actually watching it because you're but you know it's sort of almost a habit, and the fact that it's so instant, you know,
You've got to know what
you
that
can-
guy was in 3
yeah,
years
exactly.
ago. Where do I know him from?
So no, I think I like that aspect of cinema.
Oh,
and
I wasn't
think-
asking about liking it. I think
No,
we all
no, I know.
agree that it's a good thing that you're kind of forced to.
I
pay
think there's
attention.
I think Snapchat's the thing to look at as well. I think there's definitely something in that because that's the sort of small scale equivalent of the cinema where you can't skip anything. It's like you'll get a thing and you won't be able to do anything with it. You just have to sort of watch it, and it's there, and that's when it's there, and then it's gone. And I think that's kind of an interesting thing for putting things out for the quick things on the internet. I mean, imagine if your Facebook wall was full of the films that autoplay, and they would only autoplay once. So it's like when you scroll down your timeline, you're not just skipping through stuff. You're like, if I have to check these things because they're only going to be there once. And I think that's really cool because that makes it's like live. It's like live TV. It's like it's only going to happen once. And I think that is why so many things like YouTube and Facebook are doing the live thing now, is because people like that unique thing of this is only going to happen once and this is very unique and only so many people are going to get to see this.
But that would just cause us to check it more often.
Yeah, totally. But that's
not necessarily good for us, but good for Facebook.
Well, it's good for us because we get entertainment. I mean, we are there. It's a two-way thing. It's like we don't have to put anything into it.
It's why we've sold our
but we
souls and information is because we get something back out of it.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's not a bad thing. I don't think.
I think part of maybe I'm wrong. Part of what I read into Andy's kind of raising this topic is actually, is there a bigger picture in terms of what we should or shouldn't be doing?
What would someone think of the children?
Like, in the same way that we just admitted, or at least me and Andy did, that we're glad that choice is taken away from us sometimes in terms of the cinema, in terms of broadcast TV. We can consciously evaluate that and say that's better. Like, don't you think that there's a degree of that applies in terms of everything else? So, for example, Facebook, if they push all the live stuff, we'll want to check it more often. And yes, potentially you could say there's more entertainment value in there, but is it actually a better experience overall? Do you actually get better stuff?
It's whether
or
you
do
want
just get
curated.
addicted
If you enjoy it, then yes. If you don't enjoy it, then people stop watching it and then they don't do it anymore, and you go on to the next.
But it's like if let's say you were in the cinema and you could fiddle on your phone, right? You still enjoyed it,
yeah.
so it's fine.
some people, and there's a lot of this debates about like what isn't okay to do in the cinema. Like there was a cinema a little while ago that said it was okay for you to check your phones during screenings as long as it's off and silent and it's not gonna make any noise, and it's not super bright. That's okay, and everyone went fuck off.
Yeah,
That's not okay, and they retracted that.
yeah.
But
It's annoying when.
But there are going
someone's
to be,
phone
but people do want to do
lights
it.
up.
There is a certain people do want to do it.
Yeah, but
that's
it's
fine.
the etiquette not to do it.
No, it's the etiquette not to do it.
And
That's
I kind of like that.
But if they had a specific screening for people
For
who
people
could do
who
that,
could do
yeah,
that, then
yeah.
I would be happy for those people to go to that.
Exactly. And it's like, well, that's fine. They go to where
It's
they
all about
do
choice.
the things that the way they want to do it.
Right, but I feel like this is not addressing the point that perhaps we should be more aware of how we are deliberately generating compulsive behaviors.
I think we are in the wrong industry to make comments about that.
Well, no, I think we're in the right industry to make comments about it. The fact that I think
you make something and you want people to watch it. I think that's the fundamental thing, and it's like that's the only reason you make stuff. You don't make stuff to make people's lives miserable, do you?
right, but
I think you also try and make stuff you want to convey a message or something.
Yeah. It's like I have something to say and I will say it in the medium that I can. And if people want to watch that, fantastic. If they don't, then great. They won't watch it. They'll go watch the other thing. But I still want to keep finding the place. That's why I'm excited now. It's like I can put the things that I make. There is a place for it somewhere. I don't know necessarily where that is yet. That thing doesn't exist yet, but there is a place for it somewhere. And there is a group of people who will want to watch it. And it's like it gives me great feeling that is the time that we exist in. It's like there's all these little groups of people who can watch something very specific now, and they can find the thing that they really like and not have to just sit through 4 channels of TV and be like, I have to watch this because it's the thing that's on and they're telling me to watch it. It's like everyone can go and do their own thing, and I think that's quite liberating rather than it being restrictive. Like people are free to go and find the thing they like and enjoy it. If it ruins their attention span, then I say it doesn't. The attention span just of people needs to change. I mean, we like otherwise TVs and
Well, I
devices and
think
things
it
go
doesn't
away.
really. I think going back to my original point is, I think it sort of all this stuff hasn't made people suddenly just have an attention span of 5 seconds. I think it's made people sort of really appreciate stuff that they have to commit to, whereas before it was all quite sort of it wasn't too short that it would kind of people would just be a sort of flash in the pan sort of thing, and it wasn't too long that people would get bored. But now it's it's stuff that you really have to commit to, and it's stuff that's kind of and I think there's a big sort of gap between the two, kind of. I mean, there's a sort of grey area that sort of it's a sliding scale kind of thing.
Yeah, but that's a good thing. That's
It's
a good thing. It's like you
exactly.
have nothing but choice. It's like even in the olden days, You've Been Framed existed. It was a clip show. There were clip shows. There have been clip shows for quite a long time. It's like that's what we do now. We go and watch YouTube for 30 seconds at a time, and it's a clip show. It's just curated by us because we can go and look at what we want. It's like those things have always existed. They just move to other places, and it just becomes more accessible.
I remember when I was a teenager standing at a bus stop waiting for a bus for an hour. That was boring.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But I don't know whether I'd actually be able to do that now.
No,
without
no,
a
God,
phone.
No.
Without a
I get so annoyed with myself when I forget my headphones. Like if I walk out the house and I have to go and I have to walk somewhere and I don't have my headphones, I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do while I walk? I get really frustrated with myself. So yeah, I know, I totally get that. There was a great person I saw on Twitter. They Uber taxis, like in I don't think they do it in this country, but in certain states in America. They have like themed taxis, or they have taxis that kind of create their own entertainment. And there was a guy who got in the back of an Uber taxi, and they were playing a bootleg version of Independence Day 2 in the back of the taxi. It's like, that's the world we live in, and I think that's fucking great. Very illegal, but I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. TV screens and bus stops, taxis, buses, just
It's the future.
constantly in your glasses, feeding you stuff. You don't have time to think for yourself. That make me happy.
Brilliant. I can't wait.
The future's great.
The
The
future's
future
great.
is
The future's bright. The future's glowy and all.
The features. Ooh, something interesting over there.
Yeah, what were we talking about?
I don't know. Write in, tell us what we were talking about. Excellent. All right, well, let's call it a day, and let's get some more alcohol.
I've run out of wine.
Yeah.
Can't.
No, there's a bit there. All right.
Cool.
Well, thanks, guys. See you
Cheers.
next time. See you in 2 weeks.
See you. Bye.